from the Leo wallet, I have some really exciting updates to share. So, our mission with Dmox and Aleo is really to make Aleo as web usable as possible, right? You should have a really smooth experience, and we've really made a giant step in that direction over the past couple months. And I wanted to share, you know, this is a sneak preview. This isn't live in the Chrome store yet, but as soon as Google completes its review, it will be. So let's jump into it. So the first part is now we have a much nicer syncing interface. So a big point of confusion is in order to actually know how much money you have or which records you hold, you have to scan the entire chain in order to do so. So right now what's happening is it's syncing all of testnet 3, the last 5-6 months of data, and then it's adding those records, it's trying to decrypt them on your device, and it's storing your balance. Something really cool about the way that this is happening is this is happening basically, starting at the current head of the chain and working its way backwards. So as soon as you see your balance here, you know that you can start playing with the wallet. So let's go ahead and just make a transaction. I'm going to use a small amount. The faucets can have a weight behind it. So let's go ahead and confirm this. And you'll see that it popped open a new tab, right? So, a brief warning, the first transfer you do or the first function of any type you do can be a little slow because we have to download some big files in the background in order to generate the proof on your device. And the reason that we create this tab, it will close automatically, you can just kind of ignore it, is because we're doing a lot of heavy lifting in the background. Our team worked really hard to make a lot of the Snark VM and Aleo repositories work within the browser, and then we worked harder to make them multi-threaded, to make this happen as fast as possible. And we're also working on things like GPU acceleration through WebGL, and we're going to do everything we can to make this absolutely blazing fast. So we can see that it's already generated the execution, it's generating the inclusion proof, and the way to think about transactions is they can contain many transitions. Right now for testnet 3 it's only one, but in the future it's many, and at the end of that you generate an inclusion proof. So we can see that it's already done. It's waiting for confirmation. Too quick. We gotta wait for it to be confirmed. Oh, it's confirmed. All right, let's see if it's there. Sometimes the explorers take a second, but if we look right here, do that control find, you can trust me, it's the same one. And the explorer is going to catch up in just a second. All right. So it's already there, right? That was pretty quick. We can see all of our history. It's not a little history. We're playing around with these wallets a lot, and we're still syncing in the background. Now, I didn't just, we released transfers a little bit more than a week ago, and that's not why I'm doing this video. The thing that I'm really excited about is finally enabling DApp developers to create their own sites and then have a way for people to interact with them. So if you're a developer, the two big repos you should check out are number one, this Aleo wallet adapter. The documentation isn't great. We're making it better. We're providing more examples. But if you're really itching to get started, here you go. And then the second is the Leo wallet demo. So this has working examples, all public code. I'm going to take you through the demo right now and kind of show you how you can think about writing programs. So the first thing that you do is you'll click this button. Well, first, I have to refresh because you got to refresh sometimes, especially with these local, builds. but it's detected the wallet. Now it's going to ask me to connect. Now, if you're using or developing dApps, something you really have to be careful of that is completely unique is this decryption permission. This only exists within Alio because it's the only like ZK privacy preserving smart contract chain. So this app will only be able to decrypt things with your explicit permission. So let's go ahead and connect. You can see that it now has my public key. The connection already existed before. The signing already existed before. The decryption existed before. Let's take you to the new stuff. So if you're writing a program, something you may know is really hard to do is like a lot of things like a transfer, it requires a record, right? So you pass it in a record, you pass it in an amount and a recipient, and then, but how do you get that record, right? And getting that record can be really annoying. And what we did is we made it super easy. So if you want to request records from a user, there's an example here. Remember, the code is in this Leo Wallet demo, and you just type in the name of the program, go ahead and request it. So if you want to be absolutely sure that you're not sharing anything you want, you can click this download button. It'll download those records. You can reject it. I don't the real website doesn't show this developer stuff, but let's go ahead and approve it. And this is the actual data that it's passing. You'll notice that these don't actually look exactly like records on Alio if you scan the chain. And this is on purpose. We wanted to preserve privacy as much as possible, so we don't give someone the ciphertext, because we don't want someone to be able to know which transactions you generated these records in. We don't include things like the serial number. We don't include the nonce. We include the minimum amount of information necessary for DApp developers to create transactions. We're considering other permissions for other potential applications, but let us know if you have those in mind. Otherwise, we want to default to being maximally paranoid about everything in this sort of privacy preserving wallet. You'll notice here I'm scrolling because I need to find an unspent record that has some balance. All of these are spent, so you can think of them as like my history. You could think of them as the flow, the amount of like tokens that I've spent. But here we finally found a record that has not been spent. So let's go ahead and copy this. So now we can go to this next form where I'm just going to paste that in. The amount has to be less than the number of gates. So we can make it like 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember that a gate is a millionth of a credit, so it's not a large amount. And then I just need an address. So let me grab this address. All right, so we'll go ahead and there we go. So we got a request for a confirmation for the transaction. We can see that it has the program, the function, all of the arguments listed out. We're trying to figure out ways to make this like display nicer, but for now we're just going to show you everything. You can go ahead and confirm it. Like before, it's going to pop open this tab where it's going to start processing that transaction. You can see that it's generating the transitions. Then it's going to be generating the inclusion. Then it's going to broadcast it. Then it's going to be on-chained. On my computer, it takes roughly 30 to 45 seconds. But this is going to be really machine dependent, and we are focused on speeding this up. So if you're like, this is too slow, honestly, I agree with you, but it's going to get faster. So this is like the earliest days. Appreciate your patience. And we'll see it get live shortly. The next thing I kind of want to point out too, while this is going, like you could cancel this. I'm not going to cancel it. Um, there we go. Maybe we get a 404 again, and we gotta we gotta go to the blocks. Yeah, it's probably the one with two. Let's make sure I'm being honest. Oh, it didn't even show up on the blocks yet. Oh, I refreshed too quickly. I'm sorry, Haruka. Oh, let's check the Alio network. Okay, so it's here. I was trying to do things too quickly, but it's working. So the next thing I wanted to show you that is kind of like the final step is custom programs. So in terms of custom programs, this is like a big pain point, right? Where you're writing a program and you deploy it, and like, how are people actually going to interact with it? Because normal people aren't going to like download the command line tools and do crazy stuff like that. So we created a really simple program here, and here it is. It's like nothing fancy. We call it the cookie monster. Basically, the way that it works is there are these cookies. They tell you some info about the cookie, like what type it is and how delicious it is. And you can bake cookies and you can eat cookies, and that's it. But it's a custom program, and now you can use the Alio wallet, the Leo wallet to request transactions for it. So we can go ahead and just like the transfer, it's going to say, okay, here is the function, here is the program we're interacting with. Let's go ahead and confirm it. That tab's going to pop open again. And here we go. Now it's doing the same thing. Do we want to bake a whole dozen? Nothing can stop us, right? Let's keep going. Yeah, so it's going to queue these up. It can only do one transaction at a time because the multi-threading for the proof generation is already going to be using as many threads as it can. But yeah, we'll see that these cookies are getting baked soon. Maybe we'll spruce this UI up a little bit and show you how to get rid of the cookies. But it works just like the transfer. You just find the records you need and then you pass them in, right? So if I want to copy this program here and I want to see, okay, what are the cookies that this person owns? I can just request them. So they have 6 cookies and they are all uneaten. And I can see all the data about these cookies. So this is really exciting. I think this is a big milestone for us, for sure, and for the whole ecosystem. I'm excited to see which websites people create and dApps and which ones start to gain popularity and usage. I think there's a lot more to come. There are certainly some rough edges and not everything's perfect. We're working on GPU acceleration of proof generation, but also for record scanning locally, so that this happens way, way faster. But I'm really excited. I hope I showed you guys some new things. So tune in. It's not in the Chrome store yet. This is version 10.0. So when version 10 hits, you guys are going to have all of this functionality. Well, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, we'll keep writing as much code as fast as we can. Thanks, everyone.